Hello there. Well, hello there. Hello there. But anyways, hello there and welcome back to my channel. I am Jedimanda. I make costumes as like this one. This is finally the build video that I've been promising you guys for like weeks now and possibly months. It is the complete build video of my newest cosplay, Yennefer of Vengerberg from the Witcher Netflix series. If many of you guys are not familiar with where this outfit came from, the Witcher series, it is, like I said, the Netflix series, and it's the one she wears at the end of the series in the season finale, episode 8, I believe. It's the one where she wears when she lights up the entire Nilfgaard army. That really epic moment. That's probably my favorite moment of the entire series. But if you haven't seen the series yet, you should really watch it. It's pretty great, especially if you are a fan of fantasy, lore, great characters, and amazing costumes, man. Many of you have asked why I chose this outfit because it is a bit impractical. I chose this outfit besides the fact that it's just damn beautiful in my opinion, because I also chose this outfit because I really believe this is a outfit that speaks to Yennefer's character throughout the entire series, especially her arc towards the end. The aspects of the character are all about controlling her chaos, and that is extremely poignant at the very end of the season. The tight ropes that are obviously at the top of this dress indicate and symbolize her controlling of her chaos, or at least attempting to control her chaos. And towards the end of the dress, the ropes start to get a little more spaced out, they start to get a little more carefree, and then all of a sudden they're completely knotted and completely free, which in my opinion symbolizes her trying to control her chaos and ultimately using her chaos as a force of might, one would say. So this dress really represents especially that point in the final episode, if you haven't seen it yet. Her character is all about controlling her chaos. That's one of the reasons that she was in the mage school with Tisea, for all that matters, and her telling her to finally control and release the chaos. I feel like that dress really is explained, all of that character building and character personality is explained in this freaking thing. Plus, the monochromatic tone of the dress indicates a fight between good and evil, a fight between good and bad, which is ultimately what the final episode is about. However, in my own opinion, the series is all about flipping and flopping which is good and which is bad. All of the characters, including little mini Ciri herself, does a good and does a bad. So I feel like that's really what this dress kind of means, and that is a very small summary, costume analyst summary, of what I think this dress means, and one of the reasons why I chose it. I love doing art critiques and costume analysis, and maybe that might be a series coming up on this channel. Before we get into the build of this dress, I want to shout out my Ko-fi donators that made a large chunk of this dress material-wise much easier to get over. Your names are appearing on the screen, and I just want to say thank you. You guys raised $200 for materials for this dress, which helped me out a lot because I really overestimated the amount of trim I was gonna need for this damn thing. And so because of that, I add your name into my dress, which is what you see here within the hem of the dress is everyone's name that donated to my dress. If you are interested, slight plug, if you are interested in becoming a part of my cosplays, feel free to donate any chunk of money, that doesn't matter, towards all of my costume materials over on my Ko-fi page. The link is in the description down below. Now let's get into the build of this dress. So before we get into the build, let's talk about materials. Many of you have asked what I've used to make Yennefer, and here it is. 3 yards of silk taffeta from Silk Baron in the mithril color, 3 yards of lining, whichever you want to use. I use bed sheets per se. 80 yards of black rope trim, 3/8 wide, 120 yards of silver rope trim, 3/8 wide, lots of hot glue, a really good hot glue gun, tape, I suggest invisible, zipper, hook and eye closures, scissors, other sewing machine materials as well. And also do not forget your dress pattern. I used the Vogue 9373 pattern and draped my own sleeves. So for here on until we get to the rope trim, you're just gonna see me making the mock-up of the gown, popping in to tell you some thoughts I have from here on out, and draping the sleeves like I said, but right here you're just watching me cut out the mock-up with the pattern that I bought. I will say I did really like the pattern that I bought. It's just the sleeves that I had to drape on were kind of funky. You'll see it a little later in the video. So I do suggest this pattern for you. However, just understand that you're gonna have to drape your own sleeves or make your own sleeves or something. This pattern has a really good neck chest area, as well as the exact shape of the dress that I wanted to use. So right here is me starting to drape on some extra pieces to the pattern, and then continuing on to drape the sleeve. Here is the first sleeve that I draped onto the mannequin. Wasn't too bad. I knew I needed to kind of build up the shoulders a little bit in the chest. And my first fitting, as you can see, doing a fitting on yourself when it's only just you is kind of tough. But please, 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 with this dress, especially since it is a little more form-fitting, please do a mock-up fitting before you go into the ropes, because having to take off the ropes from the silk if you hot glue them on is a pain. So enjoy the rest of my mock-up making. Once I had a really good look and feel with the mock-up, I went ahead and spread out my beautiful silk taffeta from Silk Baron and made my pattern and moved my mock-ups into paper, and now started to cut out the dress with the paper pattern using my beautiful Olfa rotary cutter scissors here. Gosh, this stuff just cuts like a dream. I love it. I'm cutting a sleeve off for right here. So now the next step is just making the dress base out of your beautiful fabric that you chose. So right here, I just kind of want to shout out the walking foot that I have for my machine. I really highly suggest you guys use a walking foot for this build, mainly because if you are attaching the lining to the silk taffeta, it's gonna become kind of woodgy, if that's a weird word, underneath of the sewing machine, and this helps guide it along much, much better, and has everything just lays out right, nothing gathers underneath the foot. So if you don't have a walking machine for your machine, you don't need one, but I highly do suggest investing in one, especially for really hard to sew, woodgy, squidgy, moving around materials under your sewing machine. Within all of the seams that you will sew, and I did flatline my mock-up to my dress pattern, so once I had everything sewn down, I went ahead and started making the seams and make sure everything is nice and pressed every step you go with this build, because silk taffeta shows wrinkles, trust me. So every time you make a seam, every time you do something, please take it over to the ironing board and iron out your seams. So now I'm just going ahead and seaming up the dress, and it's a pretty simple dress to put together, honestly, until I got to the fitting stage, which you will see here soon. I did use a gigantic long zipper for this closure for the dress, which I do suggest. However, just make sure, you put it in really nice and tight, because the weight of the dress does pull on the zipper, and I'm having some issues with that right now. But my first dress fitting actually went pretty good. I was really proud of it. As you can see, I'm dancing for joy here. Hi everybody. Well, if I'm in focus or not, but I'm here to show you makeup-less in my pajamas on an average Friday. All of the alterations that I did for Yennefer, which up until this point took me like 2 extra days to do it after the footage of me just like cutting it out that I spliced into this video. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this one. I don't know if I chose the right pattern, maybe. I don't know if I chose the right pattern for Yennefer, but I had to do a whole lot of extra work to even get it to look with sleeve. I don't know, whatever. This is probably a really simple dress that you can just drape with princess seams, sleeves, and a collar, besides go about the pattern that I suggested. But if you want to be an adventurer and a pattern maker like I am, and a crazy fool, go for it. I commend you. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the really strange alterations that Yen has. So take a look at this. Okay, so first thing I had to is put this thing in here. Yeah, just ignore that. Yeah, my arms were not the length that I needed. Because I ended up having to draft this section and give it sleeves on the pattern that I used, I had to end up patterning a lot that ultimately worked and kind of didn't work, because my dress form up until this point was not the right chest size because I do push-ups and yoga, my chest does not match this dress form, and I didn't realize that till now. But that's why she's so puffy up here, is because I recently did a bunch of added a bunch of extra quilting batting to her back to give her more of a muscular back and some shoulders like my poor dress form didn't have. So that also threw off my measurements that I was doing up here when I was draping the sleeve. So because of a result of that, I had to add this weird gusset piece. Focus. This weird gusset piece that you see that goes over the arm and extends through the back. Ended up having a little, I just don't want to go back and deal with that. I know because it's going to be covered with the ropes, it'll be fine, but having to extend that was not fun. And then finally figuring out the arm to get it to the length that I want, and having to take out the back seams, and then the zipper kind of ended up pulling more, and and then the problem with I had the collar in upside down the entire time because of the fool that I am, that I ended up having to make an extender for the center back collar. But that doesn't matter, because it's gonna get covered by those freaking lots of these ropes. So here we go, continuing on the more fun aesthetic post look of this base dress for Yen. I have kind of a rough draft of the cutout that I'm going to do right here. I don't know if it makes anybody terrified, but the fact that I'm just going to cut in to fabric with not an edge, not laying down, well, I'm going to lay it down and make it nice and even, but like it just terrifies me. It just cuts directly into fabric instead of into a seam. But anyways, I think from the waist down, she looks great. The chest and the shoulder area, I just have issues with, but they're fixed now. So let's move on through this wonderful build of Yennefer. The time-honored boob window is an aspect of this dress that you must consider, and coming from experience, just cutting straight into fabric is absolutely terrifying. So please make sure you mark out your space first before you cut. And don't forget to add your seam allowances within the shape. So you're cutting just the seam allowances enough to maybe fold that over and stitch down so you have your middle boob window in front of the chest for the Yennefer dress. Okay, so now the dress is now ready for the rope trim add-on, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's all about placement and trying out stuff. I recommend having a dress form that is pinnable, so you can pinch directly into the dress form where you think the rope is going to go before you glue it down. It's very, very helpful. You don't have to have it, but I do suggest it, and it is all about placement. I just followed all of the images that I could find off of the series and just went to town. I started from the neck and then worked towards the bottom, and I highly suggest you go that way. It's much, much easier, and you're able to visualize things a whole lot better. Hi, yes, I'm back with my pajama and no makeup face once more to just jump into this video and tell you all the things that I'm learning as we're going along. This might be a new format, I don't know. Depends on if I like talking without my makeup and pajamas, because I ain't getting ready for nothing anymore. Okay, so I know many of you might be asking how I am finishing the edges of this rope. I thought the same, because I just was like, maybe I'll think of it as we're going. This is what I have so far now. I am using hot glue to seal the edges. It's kind of hard to tell. Here, come on. Get me out of the picture. Seal the edges, and then to cut them, I'm putting tape around them and cutting in the middle of the tape like they do at craft supply stores when you buy trim, so the trim doesn't, you know, fray out. So far this is the method that I have that is gonna work. I don't like how the edges look. It bothers me a bit. I think I might go back on the internet and look for some kind of shrink wrap option. Maybe I have some, but it's way too small for this trim because this trim is almost a ½ inch wide. So this is what we have so far. It doesn't look bad in the back, but some of these edges on the front of the dress, they might be seen. So continuing on through the making of this video, I just wanted to stop and tell you that's how I'm doing the edge work for now. So editing Amanda coming in here and telling you that is not actually how I ended up finishing the edges of the rope trim. I used tape. I just wrapped it around the edge of I wrapped the tape around the rope where I needed to cut, and I cut the rope in between the middle of the tape. So kind of like they do at typical craft store, fabric store counters when you buy trim there. They just tape it off and then cut in the middle, right like you see. That's what I did. That's how I left all of them hanging. I think I will go back and redo it if I'm putting this towards a competition, but for now it's just tape and it's fine. Moving on. Here is how I did the rope knots. It's actually kind of taking rope that is the same length on both sides, making a loop, diving in, and then tucking the tails in through. So right like you see, I just take the tails up through the loop and tie it as tight as I can around there. Don't tie it too tight. Just try your best to make it, just place it well and have that rope hang, and then just pin it where you think it's gonna go. And then once you like that placement, glue it down. From here on out is just gonna be me putting the rope trim on the dress. So please sit back and enjoy, grab some popcorn, and maybe watch The Witcher again so you can see more up-close pictures of Yennefer's dress and how I did this. Once again, it's just cutting the rope trim measurements that I need by draping the rope on it, cutting it, pinning it, gluing it. I'll see you all at the end. Popping in here to say this was the second round of rope trim that I had to buy. I ended up buying 3 rounds of rope trim from Amazon. The links are all in the description below of the exact trim that I used. I think it was very well priced from Amazon. However, I used 200 freaking yards of this trim. So just prepare yourself if you want to make this dress exactly how it is in the show and how I wanted to make it. The rope trim is the most expensive, but it's so worth it. I promise you that. And Amazon did a really good job restocking the rope trim because, y'all, I bought it out every time I purchased the rope trim. Yeah. The good thing is it comes in packs of 20 yards, so you don't have to buy so much, but I did buy a lot, as you can see. Now, back to the placement. There will be certain times where you just need a little bit more of the rope before you can move on, or you don't want to cut a new section of the rope, and it is pretty simple. I did hot glue it together, smush it together the best I could, using some silicone tips for your fingertips. I kind of smoothed the hot glue out, and then once it was completely clear and dry, I undid the tape around that edge, and it worked out as a good connector, but I still left a little bit of tape on there because I didn't want it to come off. But once you glue it down, it's fine. But you can put the rope together that way if you don't have enough, but I do suggest trying to use as many long lengths of rope as you can see here, so you don't have those cut edges showing for your dress, because that doesn't look good. Hello again, Editing Amanda to come in and tell you all that when you get to the parts where you need that rope trim to go around the dress, like near the wrists, the elbows, and around the knees and hips, you can sew them directly under the sewing machine. Just do a very, very, very wide zigzag stitch, set your tension down a couple notches, and very carefully put both rope trim underneath your foot and just use your hands to edge it along, and it should stitch all the way through. Grab a nice, really sharp needle and zigzag stitch those together, and it works perfectly. That's exactly what I did for all of the trim that goes around me besides just vertically on my dress. Here I cut some bias fabric of the base dress fabric that I use to seal the edges of the trim that goes around my arms and around my legs and thighs, because that will be shown and it doesn't look really good, have just hot glue and tape sanding out. And so I just use bias strips of the fabric from the dress to wrap it around it and just make it look nice. Once I had the sleeves done, now I moved on to the thighs and the legs, and I will say I glued every one of those hanging rope trims to the pieces that go around my thighs and around my legs. You definitely need that because your ropes are going to get tangled up into each other as you walk and move, and it's just not going to lay right. So definitely glue down everything you can. Okay, so now I am painting and making my little pendant that goes on the chest, and I just basically found some beads that I had with me, painted it black, and added it on top of another bead, and added a little bit of weathering using some plaid paints. Here I'm using the plaid smooth satin black that they have, the FX version, and as well as the brushed metal look ones coming up to give it a little more weathered and a little, more accent fun. But you can do whatever you want to do for her pendant area. This is just what I had laying around, and I figured it would work the best. Just allow it time to dry and then hand sew it onto the dress. All right, with that pendant sewed on, that means the outfit is completely finished. Here's some shots of the outfit, front, side, and back. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you like this outfit? I personally love this outfit, and wearing it is super fun. However, it is about 20 pounds of weight of rope trim, so it's like wearing a very, very heavy weighted jacket. So next we are going to go over the wig that was graciously sponsored by Uniwigs. I just want to go ahead and thank Uniwigs for sponsoring this wig for my Yennefer build. I purchased the magical synthetic long black wavy lace front from them for Yennefer in black. It is a wonderful wig. It wears so nice. It is, like I said, a lace front, so you will have to trim down the lace if you use this for Yennefer or any other type of wig. But it is really high quality wig. It is synthetic hair, so it does only style with heat from a steamer or boiling water. So I will show you how I styled Yennefer using this wig right here. The good part about this style is that it's really not much different than the style that is out of the box for this wig, except the part. I had to move the part over. So go ahead, and if you want to use this for Yennefer, pin down the lace using some twill tape so you don't rip any holes in the lace if you're brushing it out and styling the lace for your wig. And then I just move the center part over and use a steamer to steam down that synthetic hair. Like I said, it's synthetic hair, it's not human. The only way to style this is with a steamer or boiling water and letting it dry. So I just brushed it out really nice and moved the part over, and then ultimately pinned back the upper part of her hair kind of behind the ears like she wears it in that final scene of the show. And that was it. I would suggest, if you want to get it exactly like the show, to thin out the hair a little bit and make it a lot shorter. However, I'm going to use this wig for another character, so I don't want to cut it. So I went ahead and, like you see in the video, took a steamer and with the twill tape and hairpins, laid the hair down where I needed it to go and hit it with the steamer, and it worked perfectly. Just brushed it out, pinned it back where I needed to go, and she was done. She was ready for a photo shoot. Also, do not forget to use my code Jedimanda for 20% off your purchase of a Uniwig wig. So tell them I sent you. Use the code Jedimanda, get 20% off. And now for the makeup. I used a lot of green eyeshadow from the Just My Luck palette from ColourPop and just loaded up my eyelid pretty much. Didn't do much to my face besides overline my lips with a darker nude matte lipstick from Maybelline. Okay everybody, I am all done. So let's get ready and let's do a reveal. Yennefer dress. I want to say that I am so happy about this dress. This is honestly one of my favorite cosplays I've ever made, mainly because it fits so well, and that is in due to large part to me finally accepting my size measurements and then busting my mannequin out to the appropriate size that I am, and my dress actually fitting the way it should be. When you are a fashion designer, costume designer, cosplayer, or someone making clothes for yourself, sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, your measurements. And especially when you've been quarantined and all you've been doing is being in the house eating snacks, it's really hard to accept that you've probably grown some inches. So everybody does it, it happens. So me being able to get this to fit perfectly, it just makes me so happy. Recently I've been struggling with a lot of fit, and I think that's why a lot of my prior cosplays, including Katana, this failed Daenerys thing behind me, and even Captain Marvel didn't exactly fit the way I wanted because I wasn't honest with myself. But now I'm gonna be honest with myself from now on about my builds, because everything is now right where it should be. At least the mannequin would say that, yeah, right. If you would like to see more of these cosplay build videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. Every little bit helps, and tell me below what kind of costume you think I should make next. One more thing, if you do use this tutorial / build video to help making your own Yennefer rope dress, let me know. Tag me in your pictures on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. I would love to see. This dress was a joy to make, and I hope if you guys choose to make one of her Yennefer dresses, including this one, you'll let me see it, because I'm a Yennefer stan now and I can't wait for season 2. Once again, thank you for coming by and stopping and watching my Yennefer build videos. If you like cosplay, sewing, costume analysis, stuff that has to do with wearing fantasy cool stuff, please subscribe to my channel. And until the next cosplay build video, see ya, bye!